Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the I Love Me podcast, where we talk about self-love, positivity, and how to love yourself for all and everything that you are. Today, I'm joined by my very special guest, Tayyab, and I think I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, Thor. Hi, listeners. My name is Tayyab, and I was born in a small town in Pakistan called Jhelum. I came to Canada in January 2019, and I am doing a psychology major and a biology minor here at MTA.
Oh, nice. So let's just get straight into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, have you ever had any negative experiences within your life, whether in Pakistan, here in Canada, the transition from Pakistan to Canada? Let us know.
Yes. Negative experiences are unavoidable. I feel like everyone else, my life was full of ups and downs. I do tend to focus more on the ups, not downs, but I do acknowledge the downs every day of my life. Back home, I come from a conservative, religious, somewhat extremist society and a country. So I think most of my issues or my negative experiences revolve around bullying, mental health issues, and just the stress of following extreme social norms and roles. But here in Canada, I think the negative experiences are just different. They revolve more around microaggressions and, academic stress and all.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Back home in the Bahamas, microaggressions aren't a thing.
Yes.
Because everyone you're used to seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
You're used to seeing different styles, different body types, different hairstyles,
mm-hmm.
and things like that, different last names, different people speaking different languages. And now when you come to Canada, it's just oh, well, you're new. Where are you from? And so would you like to share any of your experiences that you've had with microaggressions here?
Yeah, so I would like to add on to the statement that you just made. I feel like back home I belong to the major groups, the major gender and the ethnic group, or the religious one as well. So I don't really know how, I didn't really know how to identify the microaggressions because I never faced them. I never went through any racist or Islamophobic experiences back home because I am a part of the group, major group, the dominant group. But when I came to Canada, I think it all just flipped. I wasn't dominant anymore. I was part of a minority now, and the shift was hard. I think it was difficult.
Yeah. I know on my previous podcast, people were yeah, since I came to Canada, this lady one time touched my hair and was like, oh my God,
yeah,
this looks so nice. And it's just what is going on? People getting
mm-hmm.
stopped by TSA for in quote random search when we all know it's not random.
Yes.
It's targeted towards minorities.
Mm-hmm.
Very obvious, very clear. And it's as if we see so much uproar around us, with racism and how it has affected all the nations around the world through whether systematically,
mm-hmm.
Through injustices like the police brutality and so on and so forth that. And it's why do we still have to deal with this in the 21st century? Why
mm-hmm.
is this still a thing?
It's frustrating.
At this point, everyone should be educated about what's going on and what's right and what's wrong at this point.
Yeah.
But it's the message is not getting across. Why is it that you can't take the time to do your own research about the issues that minorities face,
mm-hmm,
especially when coming to a country where they are the minority?
Yeah, and I feel like it's not really our job to educate anyone on why do we not deserve to feel discriminated against. I don't know why do I have to tell people to not touch my hair. I say that because it has happened to me as well. I have long, black, dark, somewhat curly hair myself, an ethnic curly hair, I guess, which I'm obsessed with. But a lot of people here in a small town like Sackville have not seen those hair. So I don't know. I think it happened 3 times in a grocery store line where a lady or anyone would go touch my hair and
wait, just randomly touch it?
Yeah. I mean or even randomly, I think it happened once when she actually touched it and she just started playing with my curls. But the other times it was just a compliment, which felt like a compliment at the moment. But afterwards I thought about it and it wasn't a compliment to me. So what it was I don't know why, but all 3 times it was a different person, but what they said was the same thing. So the first lady who touched my hair and like started, I felt so entitled at that point. I was like, oh my god, I'm receiving a compliment and all. But afterwards you think about it and you realize that it wasn't really it was a compliment, but it was something else in disguise, you know?
Yeah.
So every time, all 3 times, they were like, oh my god, you have such beautiful lush hair, are you from Mexico? And I was like, no, I'm nowhere near Mexico, I am all the way from Pakistan. And I think this is just one of the examples of microaggressions that international students or international people face in a country like Canada. The other types would be, I've had in my first semester or first year, I've had a lot of people be like, oh my god, you speak such good English for a Pakistani. And I don't know if they realize that English is our official language. I have gotten all of my education in English.
Crazy.
Yeah, since my first, or even before my first grade, we tend to focus more on English more than our national language, which is Urdu, thanks to colonialism, I guess.
Yeah, like I can agree with what you just said. Especially like for us back at home, it's more like, I don't want to make it seem like we don't face struggles back at home as well. Because when I go back at home, the first thing my family says to me, or the first thing someone says in my family is like, oh my god, you put on so much weight. What have you been eating? And then it creates this body dysphoria within my mind, because I'm here in Canada and I'm thinking, oh, I'm eating such small portions. Oh, I'm losing weight. My friends are telling me like, oh yeah, from like first year, you look like you lost like so much weight. And then I go back home and it's just like, all of that just goes out the window.
Yeah.
Like, have you had those experiences in your life?
Yes. I think most of my life I have gone through body struggles and body image issues. I still go through them, but I know how to deal with them, I guess, now better than before. I think back home, I don't know if you would relate to this, but back home there is a specific weight limit. If you're out of that weight limit, you don't deserve respect, I guess. So you're either like, oh my god, you're too fat, or you're too skinny, you eat too much, or you don't eat enough.
Yeah.
It's always that. I know in my high school and even before my high school, I was a big person, and I've had most of my bullying was surrounding that. So people would just like touch me in inappropriate areas, I guess. I had man boobs, so they would just grab me from them, and I would feel uncomfortable. I would feel extremely disrespected, but I couldn't do anything because people around me were laughing at me as well. I guess I would just cry back home in my room later that night and would just like curse God, why did he make me like this and all. I didn't realize I was a kid. I was a selfish, not selfish, but I was a dumb kid, I guess. And I think growing up, it's just small comments from people that people don't really think about them before saying, but your comments have a lot of impact on someone else's life. And I think a few years ago, because I was so frustrated, so I started going to the gym. I lost more than 13 kgs. I don't know how much that is in pounds. I lost more than 13 and a half kgs in like less than 2 months. And I wasn't skinny, but I lost a lot of weight. Like you could notice. So people just started being like, oh my God, you're so thin now. You've lost so much weight. And I was like, where was this respect before?
Yeah.
Like 3 months ago, I felt like no one wants to even look at me. And now I'm getting praises just because I struggled through in the gym, I guess.
Yeah, first of all, let me say I'm so sorry that you have to go through that experience within high school, because like for us, when we go into like grade 7 or like what do they call that, middle school here, like it's like this switch, because like in grade 6, like no one really cares about like your body weight. Like they're just like, oh yeah, you're like the tallest in the class, or like you're the biggest in the class, but like no one really cares about that stuff. Like when we go into like grade 7 and grade 8 and grade 9, it's like there's a flip, and it's like, oh, why are you so fat? Why are you so big? Why are you like this? And then you look at yourself, and then this creates like problems within your mind. Like, why was I created like this?
Yeah.
Why are people treating me like this just because of the way I look? And then you start to look in the mirror and you start to look at yourself and be like, am I really ugly? Am I really what these people say they are? And so like when you went through those experiences of like people bullying you, people touching you inappropriately, which I don't condone, and like microaggressions, what emotions did you go through?
Again, like I was scared of even stepping out of my room sometimes, because it's not always strangers. It can be people around you, people in your own family. It can be like one statement that they said as a joke.
Yeah.
It can hurt the most, you know. So I was scared all my life, even stepping out of my house or my room. I think I developed like intense symptoms of body dysmorphia. I say symptoms because I was never like diagnosed. Mental health isn't a thing back home. We can't go to therapies. Sometimes I would just be scared of even stepping in front of the mirror. Sometimes I would just go in front of the mirror and I would just see like a pile of, you know, a fat, some monsterish, ugly person. But yeah, I did develop those symptoms, and I worked a lot on, you know, going over them, I guess.
Yeah, like I can definitely agree, because like when I go in the mirror now, like even when I like, let's say I hop out the shower and like I look in the bathroom mirror, sometimes I just look away from it because like I think about like the things that everyone has said to me, like, oh, you're too fat, you're too big, you're too this, you're too that. And then now like sometimes I'm like that, but then other times I'm just like, I'm doing like my little struts in the mirror. I'm looking at my body and be like, damn, I look so good. And like, for me, I find that's a switch when I go back home, because like when I go back home, my family is the first one that's like, oh my God, you put on so much weight. Oh my God, you should have a salad instead of eating this. Like, it's a subtle hints that make me feel like, why did I even come home to be around this energy? Like, why? And so, like, I completely and definitely understand, like, what you're saying. And now I feel like you are so confident. Like, you are literally the most confident person I know, personally. Of course, Lesson is giving you some competition, but you are one of the most confident people I know. How did you gain such confidence?
Self-hate, I guess. And I literally hated myself most of my life. I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I talked. I hated the way I walked. Just interacted with other people. I hated every single thing about me. And yes, there were people around me who constantly reminded me of those things. So I hated myself even more, I guess. But I think it's better said than done. I think the motto of my life was fake it until you make it. So I started faking the confidence. I pushed myself to go out of my room and out of my house and, you know, however I feel like. And it took a lot of time and effort, but now I'm at a place where I'm more embracing myself as who I am. I'm still not there, but I'm maybe more than halfway there, I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely agree, because now I see you walking around. You're always in like these little nice outfits, always like on your spa.
Always serving,
like,
you know?
Yeah. Definitely slaying the looks. And so you, even though you're confident, you remain like a positive person. And so I'm just trying to give my listeners like tips on like how do you remain such a positive person even despite what you face.
I think it's different for every person. You just have to like find the right balance in your life. I do believe self-hate is very underrated and self-love is so overrated. I know it's so easy for people to say, oh my God, just love yourself. It's not that hard. It's hard.
It is.
It's hard. When you go through certain experiences in your life, it's really hard even looking in the mirror. And when in my last statement, I said I'm still not there. By that I meant I still have those days where I don't want to look in the mirror. No matter how good I look, no matter how good my outfit is, no matter how good I'm feeling, it can just take 1 second to switch everything. It can take like one comment, and the person who says the comment doesn't even realize, you know. So yeah. So it's different for every person. For me, I think it was just pushing myself, forcing myself to do things that I wasn't comfortable with. It was very easy in Canada. I think when I came to Canada, I evolved as a person because I didn't have to like follow the strict rules. I didn't have to care about what other people will say because everyone here was a stranger. So I didn't really care about what a stranger has to say about me. I didn't have my friends and family start like constantly commenting on my body and my body weight and how much I've gained, how much I've lost. I was a different person in Canada, so I think it was easy for me to like try on new things and force myself out of my comfort area. And I think you would agree, like when I came to Canada my first semester, all I wore was like baggy shirts and trousers, and I dressed like a homeless person.
Don't forget the pajama pants.
Yes, pajama pants. I still have those. I do wear them sometimes. Yeah, so I think that's when I was thinking about, trying something else, getting out of those pajama pants and trying out a jean, maybe like a skinny fit, to make my ass look good.
Yeah, like I can definitely agree, like doing things outside of your comfort zone to like increase your happiness or self-love or your positivity within yourself. Because for me, I find that I normally seek that within others, like I'm always looking for someone to give me that compliment, and when I get that compliment I'm just like, oh. But like I have to learn how to like tell myself that I look good and value that just as much as if it was coming from another person. And like, so that's what I find that I need to like do better, like value my own opinions and what I think about myself as if it was coming from someone else.
Yeah, I do think that was a huge part of my evolution as a person in Canada. I didn't just wake up one day and be like, oh my God, I'm just going to wear that instead of this and kind of step out. It wasn't like that. It was, okay, I'm going to wear it. I'm going to stand in front of the mirror and I'm going to see what I feel like. Okay, it's the first day. I don't feel good. Let me just go back to my pajama pants and just go back to bed. I try again next day. I'll try again next day. I'll try again next day. I'll try again until I have the confidence to tell myself that you look so amazing, you look so different, and you look so gorgeous in front of the mirror. And I think that is one point where when you reach that point where you're able to like validate yourself, you're able to like give yourself the compliments, it's easy for you to step out of the house or like go in front of the other people wearing whatever you're wearing and presenting yourself as a different person. But again, for me, it can be hard sometimes to just accept compliments. It's very hard. I think you would agree. I don't take compliments very well. Either it just boosts my self-confidence or I just don't believe it at all. I just be like, oh yeah, maybe he's just saying it because he has to.
Yeah.
Doesn't really feel like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the mood is different depending on the day and depending on the side of the bed I wake up on.
Yeah, like for real. Like you just can't like say, oh, I don't look good this day. I don't feel good this day. I don't like what I'm wearing this day. So you just give up and like don't try again. Because like if you don't try again, that's when you begin to fail. And then that's when you begin to like fall down into this pit of like hating myself and looking at analyzing each insecurity one by one, instead of like embracing them and like putting dirt into the pit to like make yourself rise up each time you accept a part of yourself that you didn't love before. And I think that's what you have to do. Just keep trying again and again.
Yeah, I think I somewhat disagree with that statement.
Oh.
Yes, because talking about the pajama pants again, I'll use myself as an example. I was most comfortable in those pajama pants. I was comfortable in going in front of the people in those because I knew that I didn't look good, but I felt good. So there were two ways. One was I just get out of the pajama pants and go try on something new, or I embrace those pajama pants. I did try the first one, but either way, it's a success. If I would have embraced the pajama pants and if I would have been sitting in front of you in those pajama pants, it would still be a success. If I was confident, if I was telling myself that I love myself in those pajama pants. You don't always have to keep trying Sometimes it's okay to give up. Sometimes it's okay to embrace wherever you're at your life. You don't always have to keep evolving and trying hard and forcing yourself. That can be mentally draining.
Yeah. Oh my God. You just opened my eyes to like a new perspective.
Yeah.
And like, I love that. You know, like, do what's best for you and do what only you can take. Because like Sion says every day of my life, you are the only person that has to live in your body for the rest of your life.
100%.
So do what is best for you. And so we know that every time, like, everyone's not in their happiest moments. Like, you're not always that confident person.
Yeah.
You're not always that person that, like, brings other people happiness and joy. Sometimes you have those moments where, like, you're just down. Like, you're just not having a good day. So what do you find yourself doing to, like, bring yourself back up to this confident person that you are?
I think I don't try to bring myself back up. Like I said, I do believe failure and having a bad day are so stigmatized and so demonized.
True that. True that.
Failure is not always a bad thing. Being not at your best is not always a bad thing. Not succeeding is not a bad thing. It's just there. Emotions are there to feel them. So when I'm at my bad day, I try to embrace it. I try to identify that I am not at my best right now. And instead of changing that, I would just go through it, not force myself, because again, forcing yourself can be mentally draining. And when you're not at your best, you don't want more mental drainage. I just live with it. I just embrace failure. I never fail though.
Yeah, like, I definitely agree. I'm more the type of person that, like, I allow myself 24 hours to go through all of the emotions. Like, I allow myself 24 hours to feel everything I'm supposed to feel. And then after that, I analyze the situation. I understand, like, why it happened, how it's affecting me, how I can improve and move on from the situation after those 24 hours. Because I realize that, like, if I stay within those emotions for too long, I give it too much power.
Yes.
And, like, it overcomes me, and, like, it becomes, like, the threshold that takes me over the edge to, like, go back and revert to, like, old habits and old ways of dealing with issues when I was in that headspace at that time. And so that's just what I do, basically.
Yeah, I think when you're not at your best, you just need to give yourself some time and you need to find that right headspace, and it can take some time for you to, like, get to that right headspace. And you don't have to, like, force yourself on anything. You can force yourself on doing, like, small things. So, for example, me, if I'm not at my best, if I'm not doing the best mentally right now, I would just clean my room
Or text me.
Yeah, or text you. That helps a lot sometimes. Most of the times. So, yeah, even taking a shower, cleaning my room, small things like this make a lot of difference.
Yeah, I can definitely agree, because, like, there's always that one moment when your room was so dirty and you clean it and then
yesterday.
You just take this sigh. Like,
yeah, it just feels different.
Yeah,
it just feels
different.
Like you're like in New York, you know, living in a fancy apartment now. I did clean my room yesterday, so I'm very proud of it. It took me 3 hours.
3 hours?
It was dirty. It was so dirty. I had like 3 piles of laundry. The first one was dirty. The second one was clean from my last laundry session. The third one was dirty, but it was okay to wear them again. So I had like 3 piles in my room. So I had to, like, sort them out, you know, clean what had to be cleaned, put the rest in the closet and all, you know.
Yeah, and, like, that, like, makes you so happy. Like, after you do just such a small thing and you get that sigh of relief, you feel such happiness and such joy. And I know for me, like, my happiness is so precious to me. Like, I hold it dear to my heart. And, like, whenever I'm happy, I always come into work, I light up a room. But, like, if I'm upset, you will know I am upset. You will know I am upset, because I am the most quiet person ever. Like, I am so, like, loud, rambunctious, like, outgoing, extroverted when, like, I'm happy, everything's going well. But if I'm sad, I turn into the most introverted person ever. I am just so silent.
I know you're very unapproachable when you're sad. You would just be sad, and if I would have asked you like, "Yo, Thor, what's going on? Are you okay?" You'd be like, "Never mind."
Yeah, I'd be like, "No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you."
And so, what does your happiness mean to you?
That's a very good question. I don't think I ever think about it. I do feel like I don't want to define what happiness is. I don't want to define the actions or the emotions that bring me happiness. I don't want to like define the moment. I just want to like just let it come to me, you know? I don't want to like strive hard for happiness. I'll just do my thing and I'll let it come for me. Yeah, so like for example when I said even cleaning your room, sometimes people don't celebrate these things. I celebrate them. Obviously when you're cleaning your room after like 2 months, you need to celebrate them. It takes like 3 hours. But still, like even small things like going out and just like treating yourself for like I don't drink coffee, but like a matcha tea latte from Ida's. That brings me happiness. Sometimes spending just time alone brings me happiness. Sometimes sleeping for an extra hour. Sometimes just not sleeping at all. Sometimes watching a movie at 4 a.m. Sometimes just eating a piece of vegetable after 2 months. Sometimes drinking a glass of water. And I feel like these small things people forget to celebrate.
Yeah.
And these are the small things that bring me happiness.
They have like such an impact within your life.
Yeah.
I don't know about the no sleep part, but I'll definitely give it a shot and see how happy I am the next.
Do not.
I remember the times he used to stay up all night just to study for an exam in the Campbell Hall.
Yeah, I still do that sometimes.
Did it bring me happiness? Not that
well,
much.
at the moment, yeah. But not the day after. The day after, don't talk to me. I will punch you in the face.
So, now that we're coming to the end of this podcast, what is your definition of self-love, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. Self-love is something very overrated to me, I guess. Probably because self-hate was a big part of my evolution as a person. Self-hate was something that made me evolve. And what I am right now, self-hate, played a very important role. And just like love, hate is an emotion. And I don't know why it's so stigmatized. It's just something you feel. I just feel like sometimes you just gotta let yourself feel that. But self-love for me is just embracing myself as who I am. Just celebrating my identity, celebrating my culture, my religion, my ethnicity, every single aspect of me that makes me.
Yeah, like
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I can definitely agree because like for me now, like I'm growing and I'm climbing my stairs when it comes to self-love, because I know like every time like I record, like let's say I record like a PSA in the studio here at CHMA, or like I record like a good morning message for like someone to like play on the radio, I always find myself like analyzing my voice, like, oh, why do I sound like that? Why do I walk like that? But I think self-love for me is just like, listen, you talk how you talk, you walk how you walk,
Period.
you are who you are, and
Yes.
if they don't like it, I was gonna say a bad word, forget them.
Yeah,
like it
there you
doesn't
go.
matter. Like people's opinions only have power if you allow them to
Yes.
have power.
Yes.
So therefore, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. And if you don't have an issue with me being me and doing me, then you could decide not to be around me.
100%. And I feel like why I said the self-love was so overrated is because how much people force it on you.
Yeah.
People just force the fact that you have to love yourself. It's not always true.
And it's not always easy.
It's not always that is necessary.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need those bad days. Those bad days are what makes you feel happy later.
Yeah. And then sometimes you might love an aspect of yourself that might be toxic to others. Because like you might love how you're so like selfish with yourself. Like you
I totally feel that. I feel like I talk a lot. I'm self-obsessed, and I'm proud of the fact that I'm self-obsessed.
Yeah.
And I like right now, it annoys a lot of people. But I've learned to not give a. I've learned to not care about. I've learned to like not care about that, because at the end of the day, that's what self-love is. Just complimenting myself in front of everyone if I have to. Just reminding myself of how amazing, how beautiful, how gorgeous, how what are some other words?
Find some other adjectives.
Fine. How narcissistic I am. It's not a bad thing. If it makes me happy, I don't care about the world. The world can find its own ways to be happy.
Listen, he says this, but I promise you, like, if we go to a party and we go to, like, take pictures in the mirror, it's not like he's just like, oh my God, I look so good. He's like, yeah, you look bad and I look good.
That's not true. That is so not. I do say that I'm the best looking person on the earth. That doesn't mean like everyone else around me is ugly. It's just like, y'all can try harder maybe. But yeah, I feel like everyone is beautiful in their own way.
Yeah. So, like, do you have any, like, rules for your self-love when it comes to, like, those moments you hate yourself? Do you have any, like, rules for your self-love?
Most importantly, talk to myself. Just remind myself every day, every second if I have to.
You might be crazy if you talk to yourself, no?
Well, it's okay. It's me at the end of the day. Yeah, I think there are a lot of people who keep reminding you of how bad you are at things, how bad you look, how bad of a person you are. They keep reminding you in direct or indirect ways. But it's you who have to remind yourself to be you no matter what. And sometimes I also just try to let go of what I'm feeling in the moment. It's not forcing yourself, but it's just like switching from one emotion to another. So yeah.
Yeah. Like, for me, like, at this point, like, I am so much in my own mind, I don't even care. Like, I'm just like, I'm just going to surround myself with positive people who are on the same wavelength as me. And if you're not there, then I'm sorry, you gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Yep.
Like, I've let go of so many friends just to protect my peace and my happiness. And yeah, there's always like there was like always this debate where like people are like, yeah, like I protect my peace and I protect my happiness. And like sometimes I don't always agree with that, because I feel like that's sort of like a selfish statement.
Yes.
Because like if someone is going through something, I understand you want to protect your peace and protect your space and protect your spirituality or whatever. But you have to realize that, like, sometimes we have to put ourselves in these moments, not only to help others, but to learn from them and to learn from this experience that we go through with them. And so I feel like sometimes you have to disrupt your peace to get back to the peace that you originally wanted.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's a very cliche statement, but you know how you're like traveling in the airplane and something, and in one of the instructions, they say, put your own oxygen mask before you help others.
Yeah.
And I think that's how your everyday life is. If you are not feeling the best, how are you supposed to make someone else feel their best?
Exactly. If you can't love yourself,
how the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen. And so as we close out this podcast, my final question to you is, if you could give any piece of advice to someone who was in your situation, coming from Pakistan, now coming to Canada, or just living in Pakistan and is being surrounded by the adversities you faced, what would you say to them?
I think the most important thing I've learned is to unlearn some things. So I would advise people to just be open to learning new things, but also be open to unlearning the old things. Let go of some stuff. It's okay. Yeah. Like
I can definitely understand, because like when you learn some stuff, you come to Canada and you're like, this is what I learned, so this is what I'm going to stick by. But like sometimes you have to switch up your movements to like make yourself a better person at the end of the day.
And especially for people, if they're coming from a country like Pakistan to Canada, they're two different parts of the world. They have their own culture, they have their own traditions. You don't have to follow their culture and traditions, but you need to learn how to respect them. And you need to learn how to value them, but also protect your own.
Period. That's
you also
period.
not also protect, but also celebrate your own.
Yeah.
And if you feel like, also spread it. So be true to who you are, but be open to learning new things.
Oh my God. You are just delivering some beautiful messages on the I Love Me podcast.
Thank you.
Today. Oh my God. I want to thank you again for being another guest on my podcast. You are one that I was really anticipating. If you don't know, Tayyab is my best friend at this point.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Tayyab is my best friend at this point. And like, we've known each other for years. And like, I just can't get rid of him now. So
yeah, you don't have any choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me and giving me the space to talk about stuff. And I love you so much, and I do look up to you sometimes.
Aww.
Sometimes. Yeah, thank you so much for just being you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, because you talked about some stuff I didn't know. And now we're going to have conversations after this show.
No, thank you.
But yeah, thank you for coming back on another episode of the I Love Me podcast. His name is Tayyab, and he shared his experiences. And my name is Thor, and I am the host, and I'm going to be sharing my own experiences with my guest. So if you want to learn to love and appreciate and respect everything that you are, come back next week for an all-new episode of the I Love Me podcast. My name is Thor.
My name is Tayyab. Follow me on Instagram. Thank you.
Drop your at name if you want.
It's TAYYAB599. See you there.
And we are out. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Period.